I'm glad you came back to my coin. The Bitcoin bubble axiology is important to pay attention to if you own XRP. Also, I'll talk about a lot of things in this movie that have to do with the 30 to 50 trillion dollars that could be traded on the XRP ledger in the future. To quickly review, Anthony Welfare, who used to work at Ripple, was the one who first told me about axiology. I must say that when I first heard about the project, it made me happy. Putting axiology and superHOW together sounds like a really interesting project. More details can be found on this slide. The photo was sent out. You could pay attention to phase 0, which is the start of the project. During phase 0, the idea was tested and a secret XRP ledger called sidechain was built so that securities could be issued. The work was done at the end of 2022. With this, the company's private stock was then put out on the sidechain. The solution can use native XRP or any other coin on the XRP ledger sidechain, and there are no fees set up for this time. We are now in the first stage, which will test our CBDC merger or management with the settlement coin to see how quickly payments work. This is where we could see it really work. Please find below the full project plan, giving you the slide in your hand. I've been keeping an eye on this drop for a long time. The Distributed Financial Market Infrastructure (FMI) is a new type of regulated organization based on XRP. It works with blockchain-based technology layer 4, which is the transaction settlement system, and the EU's DLT pilot regime. Because of this, the EU DLT pilot regime law carefully controls this, and it's mostly made for organizations. The new thing that makes sense is distributed FMI for tokenized assets. That's really important. To give you some background, the DTCCC settles $3 quadrillion worth of securities every year on platforms that are all linked to each other. Process speed, cost savings, direct participation by regular people, secondary markets for tokenized securities, issuance on the ledger of fungible token-based regulated integration of regulated settlement coins, Meka stable coins, CBDCs, and the chance of regulated fractionalization of tokenized securities are all things that can be improved. The European Union retail season capital market access, regulatory certainty momentum building on crypto industry insights, and a real problem with CBDCs are some of the other things that are on the agenda. Finally, this is a quote piece about why the European stock markets can't keep up with the American ones. The main point of this article is to tokenize stock exchanges. This was told to us by Larry Fink from BlackRock. We've been thinking about it for a while. Right now we're at the very end. Here's where our own thoughts on the digitalization of money, as shown in white papers, waves at the very least, and CBDC come into play. The spread effect in a very special way. The study of Access superHOW is a private blockchain technology study lab in Lithuania that is working with government agencies right now. The project they made, Axiology, is a way to buy, sell, and settle tokenized stocks using the XRP ledger. Both have been talked about as friends on the Ripple Insights blog. The Axiology website makes it clear that the company works with Ripple and the EU. SuperHub took part in the tech sprint on CBDC use case creation at the BEAS Innovation Hub London Centre this spring. API parts from Project Roseland were used in the run. In case you were asking, Project Roseland was also linked to the Quant network through Overledger. SuperHot was chosen as one of the 3 teams based on its originality, thoroughness, and level of presentation. It was talked about the Axiology project, which was led by Dr. Marius. Grand is how I think the name should be pronounced. Yes. Okay. I probably won't. The SVP of Research and Innovations will be mentioned, so please remember that name for the rest of the movie. I'm sure I'll be saying it. Before he started superHOW, he was in charge of the ECB's high-level task force for the digital euro. This is all linked because he was on the board of the Bank of Lithuania for 9.5 years. In line with the rules, he also wants to build an infrastructure as part of the EU's DLT test program. This is where the stories of CBDC, cross-border payments, and tokenizing almost everything come together. The XRP system and Ripple are at the heart of it all. This is clear from the way that DLT-based infrastructure that follows EU rules is being built. This is a very important problem. Our team at Ripple is thrilled to be working with superHOW and the Axiology Decentralized Securities Project. By building an infrastructure that meets EU rules for decentralized ledger technology (DLT), this relationship will help us keep our promise to make CBDCs more popular. It says that tokenized assets, such as stablecoins or CBDCs, are needed for the settlement of tokenized stocks. Among other assets, bonds and shares will be able to be issued and settled right away. In the future, European banks will be able to issue a CBDC because of what they have learned from this project. The EU has approved Ripple Super How Orion, which is on the outside. This is where Superhouse Senior Vice President of Research and Innovations is, on the inside. Furthermore, we now have a fresh look at this thanks to the XRP ledger axiology that the European Central Bank ECB chose for the Digital Euro project. As a leader in both distributed ledger technology and the capital markets, Ripple has been picked to take part. In the second part of the Eurosystem Central Money Settlement experiment, which was run by the in this test, DLT will be used to see how well it works for settling debt securities like bonds in both main and secondary markets. It will include some of the biggest banks in the EU, another company that runs a DLT trade and settlement system, and the way central banks handle money. The test bed will be traded on 21x. 21x is the other company that runs the DLT trade and settlement system. They use Polygon, POP, and POS. Somewhere between 9 and 10 businesses agree. It's thought to be $16 trillion by experts. 88% of investors are already okay with the idea of using a digital currency alternative. This is all about turning assets that aren't easily traded around the world into tokens by 2023. Then, more than 125 countries, or almost 95% of the world's total, are looking into CBDCs. The $16 trillion potential is still the big amount I think that tokenization could affect, and is now at about 98%. On top of that, stakeholders are also taking part in Wave 2 over here. The XRP ledger comes after Axiology and before Polygon and 21xAg. This part also talks about the design of distributed ledger technology DLT, which includes the XRP ledger, how Hyperledger and the Bazo prototype work together. Besides the distributed ledger, there are also officials, the person who issued the EMT, and the broker. The XRP ledger axiology, on the other hand, is shown on the left. Not a single problem. Why does DLT need to be used? That's all, it is another collection. Not at all. We can see costs, go through the process, settle, get rid of risk, cut down on middlemen, and keep track of our progress. Next, I want to tell you about the fintech change happening around the world. It would be very important to scroll down and read about this. It's being held at some very important places, like the Saudi Central Bank, the Insurance Authority, FinTech Saudi, and the Capital Market Authority. This is the list. To help you remember, these are the speakers, the Saudi Central Bank. There are many more like the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Capital Market Authority, the Insurance Authority, and many more. Securities, commodities, big central banks, and many more are among the other speakers. If you're interested, you can look through the whole list. There are over 300 speakers, over 300 brands. There are almost 350 partners in Us. Also 20,000 people came. As I said before,